I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Swiss Chalet's festive special is back. Canada's favorite rotisserie chicken, cranberry sauce, stuffing, Lindor chocolates, and a scratch and win card where everyone's a winner. It's a tradition truly worth sharing. The festive special, only at Swiss Chalet.
Now, I don't think you do it all the time.
And welcome. It's been a big weekend of curling here at the North Bay Granite Club. And now it's come down to this: out of 24 teams to remain, it's Laurie St. George versus Chelsea Brandwood. It's the finals of the Swiss Chalet Curling Stadium Spiel. We are so happy to have you joining us here today on Curling Stadium. I'm Dave Schmel. I'm joined by Jim Nix. Connor Sims is on the production. And we start off this game with Laurie St. George with the hammer throwing the red rocks here. And Jim, we're hoping for a good one here.
Yeah, both teams have the same record. Both teams ended at this point in the Spiel are 5-1, so you would anticipate it would be a pretty good game. We did have Laurie St. George's earlier in the Spiel, and when they were not quite on fire, today they were absolutely on fire, just blowing away two teams and missing very few shots. So that side's good. Haven't seen Brandwood at all, so I'm not really too familiar with them, but we know there's a team that's been together for a few years, so hopefully they'll put on a good show here this afternoon.
Now, I did catch that morning draw that was called by you and Sean this morning, and it was certainly the St. George rink on fire. They did not miss anything.
No, that pretty much continued through the second draw as well, maybe even more so.
So we have the first opening rocks here in the house, and you've seen a lot of this. It must be a little bit chilly up there because we've seen a lot of people wearing their heavy coats even when they're brushing.
Yeah, Jamie's had that coat on since, I don't know, two full games now, so, and has never taken it off even when she's doing some sweeping. So it's gotta be a little chilly out there, or she might be feeling a little bit of a cold, worn down or something. Who knows? But there has been a lot of jackets on through this Spiel, especially for the back end players.
So third game of the day for these squads. As they trade hits back and forth. I'd like to thank the sponsors of this Spiel, Swiss Chalet, for putting up the sponsorship for this, and of course the folks at the North Bay Granite Club for being fantastic hosts this weekend. We've had excellent ice conditions, and it's been a pleasure to watch it. So we see the St. George rink playing three-handed.
Yeah, all week long, really, all weekend long. Is it Lisa Weagle's away? And we're guessing that Lisa's at the at a mixed double Spiel somewhere with who does she play with? I know too, and I just think, but I'll think about that. That's what she plays, a lot of mixed doubles with John Epping, and I suspect that's where she is, but that's just a best guess on my part.
Well, I take your best guess better than my facts on most days.
Hasn't really hurt them. Emily Riley playing lead in the first half of the Second Stones has played very, very well, and she's been a sweeping beast. I've said a couple times over the weekend that super impressed with her both ability to know judge weight and also with her sweeping technique and power for somebody that isn't a big person. So we'll see a lot of that in this game, and she's been all alone for 6 games now. So,
and now we see the aforementioned Jamie Sinclair. Jamie Sinclair now making her home in Canada again, returning back towards with her family. She was on the U.S. side of the border for quite some time, was U.S. national champion in 2017, 18, and 19, and silver medalist in 20 and 21.
Yeah, it's a pretty good run.
So certainly not a slouch.
No, not at all. And she throws a really good stone. I love watching her throw, so I just think she just has a picture-perfect delivery, so...
Taking a look, and there certainly is room to have one more on the rings after you make this hit. There was a bit of a I don't know if you want to call it a controversy, but at least a kerfluffle over whether she'd be eligible to play in the Scotties with Laurie right off the bat, moving up to Canada.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some sort of residency rules that require certain things, although some teams seem to avoid those. And in the case of Jamie, I think it would be a difficult one because I believe she had a residence. She was rebuilding a church that she bought, an old church, and renovating it to become a home for a few years. So I don't know exactly what her actual definition of residence would have been, but yeah, I could see why there would have been a little bit of question as to whether or not she was eligible, but obviously got sorted out, and we're happy for it. And Laurie's, I'm sure, very happy for it.
Oh yeah, and what I read, I think they determined that she lives so close to the edge of Quebec that she wasn't considered an import player. I think that had something to do with the rules that particular year.
Yeah.
These things always get sorted out eventually.
Yeah,
That's above our pay grade, Jim.
it is. I would never have been able to decide that based on somebody living close. I would have thought, well, there's a border. It's not that hard to figure out where the border is. So,
But then again, my source is Wikipedia, so I'll take that for what it's worth.
well, I think it's interesting. So, pretty wide open end here, as we've seen more often than not. Last couple of games, we've had a little more action in the first end, but not so much in this one. It's interesting for this Brandwood team because they got here in the semifinal defeating Hardy, and that would have been a bit of a revenge match because for the previous three events that they played in, they had played Hardy. Hardy had been the one that beat them in their final game. Once was in the final and other times to qualify. So I'm sure they were happy to get by that one today.
As you see, continuing to trade hits. Now, Chelsea Brandwood from Niagara Falls had an opportunity to visit that club once.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, hardly, I don't know the club at all, and it was just don't hear that very often when in competition. At least somebody being from Niagara Falls, curling in Niagara Falls, or whatever the proper name of the club is there, which is probably Niagara Falls Curling Club, but it's not one I heard very often. I did a double take when I read it first. I thought, it's interesting.
Yeah, I went there one time. We were playing an event in Rochester, and the schedule had us actually having an entire day off. So we just took the opportunity to head up the road a piece and check out the club. We just kind of walked in and said, hey, can we throw a few? And got ourselves a pin. And at the time, I was a much newer curler. I'm like, hey, I curled in Canada.
Yeah. And that's now you want to move here. We'll still let you.
I do appreciate that, buddy. I understand you're getting the garage ready for me.
I am. It's almost ready. Yeah. It's just a water pump issue, but once I get that settled, we'll be good.
I can bring earplugs.
Okay. Perfect.
So Chelsea Brandwood, this is her last. Shot is made, and it'll bring up Laurie St. George for the blank attempt.
There's always this weird little pressure on this shot after going through a whole end with the intent of blanking it. Now you got to roll 6 feet to blank it, and it's, it's always like you feel like I better make this one because we just played a whole end to make it happen.
She's asking for just a hair more ice from Jamie Sinclair holding the broom. Final stone in the first. Looking pretty good. And away she goes, and the blank is in the books. They'll keep the hammer when we go to 2. We'll be back right after this from North Bay.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Don't forget your brooms.
Yep, we got it. Yellow.
Come on up. Okay, well, what do you got? You got 1, you got 2, you got...
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
'Tis the season to enjoy Swiss Chalet's festive special. Canada's favorite rotisserie chicken, cranberry sauce, stuffing, Lindor chocolates, and a scratch and win card where everyone's a winner. Your favorite tradition, the festive special. Only $17.99, only at Swiss Chalet.
Too much.
And we're back here from the North Bay Granite Club. It's the Swiss Chalet Curling Stadium Spiel. Happy to have you joining us here on this Sunday. And it feels like Sunday, and we're so happy that you are here. Dave Schmel and Jim Nix with you. And it was a blank in the first end. Laurie St. George keeps the hammer here in end number 2.
Yeah, not much excitement in the first end. Both teams made every shot, and we blanked it. So we already have 1 miss in this end, which is going to help the Brandwood team maybe mount a little bit more offense.
And we see the draw coming through, but it does peek out the other side. Interesting to see if they take on the chase. They're just going to draw on down to it. This one is light and all over the guard. Now, real opportunity for Chelsea Brandwood.
Yeah, a little odd to come up that light there because that was on the draw path for the draw to the button. So it was it wasn't a case of not knowing the route.
You see all three of the players talking about that shot. It definitely snuck up on them. This one also hanging up. Interesting.
That is interesting, yeah.
You wouldn't expect to see two shots missed consecutively there. They're doing the old look behind to see how many stones there are, and yep, you can move them now. And here's Emily Riley. And she lets chaos reign and opens it all up.
Good job. Brandwood still has a pretty good setup, though. She hasn't been biting the button. She has a partial guard already.
Oh. Now, looks like they're going to come almost into the rings with this. You like that depth, Jim?
I kind of like it, actually. Yeah, I come right around it. If it's in the right position, I'm pretty okay with it. I probably wouldn't do it. I probably still would throw up a center guard here. I just let Laurie decide what she was going to do. But I don't mind this.
This one needs to find some finish.
Usually does right about here. It just needs to be the right weight.
It does come over. Now we're going to walk it over. And it's going to come right down to their own shot rack. The angles are still pretty good. It's going to be tough to get rid of them.
Yeah, hard to get both of them, that's for sure.
So here's Jamie Sinclair. This is going to come up pretty much right up to the face. Rattles the one.
Yeah, she would have rather stayed right on that one, obviously, to prevent Chelsea from playing this little hit and flop.
So the pop and flop is called for, and it'll be Laura Horton. This is over curling and running on him. Not the best outcome, but not the worst either.
No, I would agree with that. Or hiding a little bit of trivia information. If you ever get on Jeopardy, you might want to know this one. That she did lose the provincial final actually in Quebec to Laurie St. George's in 2022. Just put that one in your back pocket. Our research assistant Connor, who does everything, looking all this stuff up for us.
This one is hanging out wide. Sinclair has it started out there. Can they get it back? They're going to get a piece. Do they get enough, or are they just going to bury it? And they do, and Brandwood lies 1-2.
Yeah, good situation for Brandwood here.
Certainly in position to put the force on.
Yeah.
Now this is really taking that line nicely. It's all about the weight now. Drag it under, ladies. Very well placed stone.
Yeah, it's a nice shot.
Does leave that double back on the other side. But you're going to be exposed after it.
Yeah, if he'd been able to go another probably 8 to 10 inches, it would have prevented this double, or almost prevented this double. It would have been awful steep. But still pretty good.
This has got to go to get past it. You're going to catch an awful lot. Oh, you skitter over the top, and that pop and flop is going to be right there again.
Yeah, it's not the easiest rock to remove, but not the most difficult either. And it's certainly a good situation to just remove the red one and flop probably a rock or a little over a rock, and be sitting 3 with 2 of them at least partially behind guard. So good opportunity for Brandwood.
Yeah, Brandwood's got something cooking here. This one has got to go. It's going to jump more than you think. You get that hit and rolled quite nicely underneath.
Yeah, excellent rate control there for Brandwood.
Oh, fantastic. Let's take another look at that.
Yeah, you can see it's not overthrown at all, and that was very important on that shot, or you could have ended up jamming it into your own. And well called, too, by Third Stone. Just a little flop, and very difficult for now for Laurie St. George's to do much with that.
So, is she drawing right around everything or freezing?
I feel like she's freezing to the one in the top of the 4-foot. Didn't see the final call here. It's going to be hard to go around everything, I think, and still be shot rock.
Pressure shot here early for Laurie St. George. This one does not look light.
No.
And it's going to find its way all the way through the house to the back. Still Brandwood line 3, so certainly trying to cement the steal here. I think that's not a bad spot for it. I almost feel like I want to have a little piece of the center line, maybe kind of tight.
Yeah, I think you have to be very close at least, Dave, to the center line. You're probably
Right.
okay with leaving an inch or two, and if you ever left a port, she's going to be able to go through the port with a lot of weight, but she's still going to probably leave you counting two. So I think you want to be very close to the center line, but definitely stay on the left side as we look down the sheet here, so that it takes more of the draw away from Laurie. And with that ice, it should stay over there, even with the amount it does curl at the end. Be a little careful here that you're not outside the slide path that you use for the draw to the buttons and find yourself a little bit of heavy ice, which could leave a much bigger hole there.
So Chelsea Brandwood, final stone at number 2. This one needs to come over. Got to keep it moving. Every inch is better. Every inch you drag this makes it better.
It's pretty good.
You could probably weasel down there with the down weight and hit it. The draw all the way around the outside is there too, but you're going to go out into God's country out there in the wings.
Yeah, the only nice thing is you just saw it. She just threw it, so you'll have a pretty good idea if the weight's the same and not the same there. The port's a really, really tough shot to score on or to hold to one even. So the guard just barely got over far enough, but I think it did. So St. George's will opt to play the come around. And it is there for one. It's complete opposite than Laurie's first two games. First two games, she was sitting there with counting 2 and 3 and 4 in the first end, and first couple ends in the other teams were chasing. So big shot early.
So Laurie St. George, final stone at number 2. Needs to get all the way there. Grab a little piece of the button for a single. Facing 3. You're past the guard now. Got to make sure the weight is right. Curl it up. Got to get it there. Drag it every little inch of the way. Got to get all the way there. And I think you got just enough to get one. Great brush and well managed. It's a single point for Laurie St. George. Big one there for the skipper. And we'll be back with the third end after this.
Hey Canada, head on down to Montana's for our 50-day aged 7-ounce sirloin flame grilled with 2 sides and onion rings, all for just $25.99 every day. Premium steak without a premium price. Only at Montana's, Canada's home for barbecue.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, Spiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next curling stadium.
Welcome back to North Bay. It's the Swiss Chalet Curling Stadium Spiel. Dave Schmel, Jim Nix, Connor Sims here with you. And Jim, that was just a fabulous draw by Laurie here early to get herself out of Dodge.
Yeah, you're going to have a look at the end of it here. And this rock is out there still a long ways. Emily Riley working to make it curl, and Jamie's going to join her because it's just barely enough weight. But, the second end of a game for Laurie to throw that shot that well was just a heck of an effort. Good team shot, and she survives a bit of a mess.
So now we're going to see our first look at Chelsea Brandwood with Hammer here. They start by having one in the top 4. Once again, happy to have you joining us here on Curling Stadium. Feel free to chime in the conversation. We love interacting with our viewers.
Just ever so slightly heavy on that one for Emily Riley.
So now Kira McLaughlin. With her second. On this one right out of her hand.
Yeah, I was going to say they're going to have to go awfully hard on this to get it by.
It is on the guard. Just going to push it into the house now. That guard was not touching the center line, so no violation there. It just happens to be in the house now.
Yeah, did roll to a bit of a corner guard, so a little bit out of that shot for Chelsea.
Here's Emily Riley.
This is going to be on her own, I think.
And another one on their own. Did they touch up the stones overnight? Do you know?
No, I don't know. No, I don't really think so. From what I've seen after doing 2 games earlier today, it has looked very similar to what we saw yesterday, at least. So I don't think they did. That was actually
it ends up in a pretty good position.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. It wasn't, not a good shot, but it turned out pretty good.
Here's a shot for Laura. They get the hit and roll on over to the middle of the 8-foot.
Yeah, a little bit more roll would have been really good. Or if it could have managed to find a way to hit a little thinner and bump that red one a little bit, that also would have made it good.
Now Jamie Sinclair. They're looking to get a big piece of this blue. They're not going to get quite as much as they want it. Not going to unlock it either. So
Probably
right over the
fortunate.
top there, yeah.
Yeah, probably fortunate she hit as much as she did. She hits that a little bit thinner, and it probably rattles that red a little bit. She might have been sitting 2 by the time it was done, but they would have been readily accessible, whereas now they're not. I think you have to move this one a little bit if you're Brandwood. I know it's early in the end, but it's going to take 2 shots to make it work.
At the very least, a corner freeze onto it.
Yeah.
Appears to be the call. This one has plenty of weight, certainly going to unlock things. Ends up in a fantastic spot.
Yeah, you can see this, how much better this makes this situation for Brandwood. It's just, it's a good shot. Good for some younger skips that might be watching, or people that are a little bit new, to say that you don't have to hit everything real hard all the time. That worked out just perfect for Brandwood. You don't have shot rock, but again, you don't get too excited about shot rock on the third rock at the end. So
you don't have to be counting till after all 16 have been thrown. Now it looks like Laurie's willing to just keep on stacking here, trying to get the angles to work her way here.
she's going to the back one, I think, Dave. It's a pretty good shot. Jamie's played well today.
So oftentimes we say that, you don't really worry too much about things behind the tee line. So why would you think that was a good shot at that time?
Yeah, I think she wanted to be in a position to sit 2 there, and the only way she could do it really was to draw down to there or to tap that rock. So and set up the angles where it's not beneficial for Brandwood. She can't get rid of both reds. So no matter what she does here, Georges might be in a pretty good position to force her to take one. She's going to play this, and she could play this shot a little bit lighter too. You could play this to get rid of the red and move your one blue one behind the corner and one blue one to the open side a little bit more. Would be a good shot. Depending on how hard she throws this, that might happen anyway.
This is coming down. I think they're almost hoping for a little bit of a drag. Does line up really, really nice now, though.
Yeah, it does.
Now the blue goes onto the red, which goes onto the back blue, but you're not worried about that if you're Chelsea Brandwood. But if you're Laurie St. George, you certainly have reason to be concerned.
So an interesting call here. It looks to me like they're playing the same shot, just a little lighter. Come right around, sit on the red. I don't know that that's a positive result if that's where they're going, because if you're on the corner of the back red one, Brandwood can just hit the 2 blues and remove both, and maybe sit 4 by the time it's all done.
So the shot coming down from Jamie Sinclair. Emily Riley trying to work it over. It's going to be a high guard.
And that might have been the call actually there. It looked like they were playing for that almost. I don't know. I'm sure they wanted to be a little bit more in front of the back red one by a little bit, but I'm going to play the peel here.
I think they're going to run it.
They are, yeah.
Well, the first indication was to run. Then she kind of broomed as if it was a peel.
Yeah.
You make a good case for both of them, really.
Yeah.
This is going to come on up and just be the peel, leave a corner.
Yeah, left the corner and not a good place to help you, though, because you had an opportunity there if you wanted to play it to come right around, tap the red one a little bit. A little harder to do now, and probably harder yet once Laurie St. George puts another guard up.
Yeah, I almost feel like the run was a shot you had to take there, even though you are throwing your opponent's stone into the rings.
Yeah.
Always a big question as to when's the right time to pull the trigger on rocks that are gunned up like that.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. A lot of the time you're spending a lot of your brain power here trying to think what they're going to do and if that's going to be better or worse for you, because you don't want her to change tactics sometimes that put you in a worse position. So sometimes you're counting on her doing one thing, and if she doesn't do that, it can cause a problem. This time I think they would have known what she was going to play here, so. This one's looking quite good. Maybe a little deep. I think it'd be well worth your efforts to go after this now, Dave.
Absolutely. If not now, when?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Got to do it. The broom goes down for it. Chelsea Brandwood skating on back.
Yeah, there's almost no way for this to work out badly for you. You make any contact with those blues and the back red is going. Maybe the worst case scenario is maybe one of your blue ones goes out and you only sit one and you're done, but I don't know how that would happen. Not coming from where you're coming from.
Because where your other blues are in guard positions, your draw paths are severely limited.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So Chelsea Brandwood with her first. This looks pretty good, but they got to go. Got to hold. Run it back on the one. Bang, bang, bang. And you lied too when you're all done.
Yeah, very nicely done. See it again. They felt like they almost lost it here. They let it curl a little bit more at the end than maybe even they were thinking they were going to do. Like right there, I think you're going hard on it, but still worked out quite nicely. Great shot.
Now, if you're St. George here, do you take on this little slash and lie three?
Yeah, I was just going to say you got to think about that one a little bit because it's, it looks like it's lined up to when you run it back on the other blue and it's going to kick, depending which way she's going to go with this, it's going to kick towards the red. She still could end up sitting one here, could jam this one on the back red one and sit one when it's all said and done. She might try to take it over the high side, in which case it would be safer. It would leave a nice open draw for Brandwood for her point, but carries less risk of turning it into a 2 for sure.
For my dollar, I'd probably play it just a little bit off nose and take my chances past the one in the back.
Yeah.
Knowing that I'd probably still lie too.
And even if you didn't, you're going to be sitting there, that you're going to force Chelsea Brandwood way out into that intern side again to try to draw for a second point.
So Laurie St. George with her final in the third. Gonna try to make this little slash. Come on down. You hit the one, and you get them both. Great shot by the Quebec skip.
Yeah, excellent shot. I think it went high side, did it not, Dave? I didn't see it on the.
It went the way I wanted it to go.
Yeah.
We apologize for our feed being just a little bit choppy. So with our final stone, Chelsea Brandwood's going to have a shot for a single. Just hit and stick. Facing two. Last rock of the third.
She set that out just a little bit, I think. They don't think so, so.
It's coming over just fine. It's going to be right up to the beak. And you get your one. All tied up. St. George will have the hammer in four when we come back from North Bay. You're watching Curling Stadium.
Swiss Chalet's festive special is back. Canada's favorite rotisserie chicken, cranberry sauce, stuffing, Lindor chocolates, and a scratch and win card where everyone's a winner. It's a tradition truly worth sharing. The festive special, only at Swiss Chalet.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
For over 20 years, the Sandra Schmel Foundation has granted more than $9 million to hospitals across Canada for life-saving equipment for premature and critically ill babies. In the past 4 years alone, $4 million has been granted thanks to the curling community's incredible generosity. The need continues year-round, and with your help, we can ensure every baby has the chance to grow up and become a champion, just like Sandra.
Join us this March for the House of Hearts Charity Spiel in Duluth, Minnesota. Help raise funds for Project Joy, who provides meals for hungry kids in our community. Every donation helps to ensure no child goes hungry. Join us and make a difference. Together, we can spread joy.
On our person.
Yeah.
Back here in the fourth end, we're all tied up. It was a great series of shots there. Laurie St. George threw a big one to get herself out of trouble there.
Yeah, there were two or three really good shots in a row there, and Laurie's was the big one, obviously, and forced Brantford to take her one, which she did quite nicely. Second time she's thrown a takeout like that she's a really nice, controllable weight and had no trouble scoring, but it was only 1 point.
I think Laurie just tried to hide the fact that she dropped the broom there, but we all saw it.
Yeah. And we have the video to prove that.
I know there's many a curling club where if you do something like that, a cacophony of dropped brooms will follow you.
Yeah. That one slipped a little bit behind the tee line. Would have preferred that not happen for the Kieran McLaughlin.
Yeah, all things being equal, for sure.
heavy too.
That is quite heavy. It doesn't even stop for a cup of coffee. It goes right through the house. So, take two.
Yeah, I definitely want this to be on the top side of the button, full 4-foot kind of place. It'd be much better.
An opportunity to set up a really good situation for you. You throw this one, I think St. George is going to have to start peeling out right away.
Yeah, you're probably right. This does look like it's going to be pretty good, although I think they overswept a little bit, maybe. Nope. Well done.
And the peels are upcoming, and we might have to find some fun facts.
Not quite. Nice shot, though. Rolls to the corner.
And the guard called for again. You say you don't hear much about curling in Niagara Falls.
I just haven't heard much about anybody from Niagara Falls on the competitive scene or something, things like that. So I just didn't see that.
Yeah, the first curling club in Niagara Falls dates all the way back to 1891.
Go away.
Here's Jamie Sinclair.
That'd be when the falls were really just rapids then.
Indeed. This is going to do some damage.
It is.
On the one, on the second. Almost got every one of them. Great shot by Jamie Sinclair.
Yeah, I mentioned before I really like the way Jamie throws, and you can see when she comes out here, even with the big weight, it's just so smooth. There's nothing there would even indicate she's sliding hard. So very nicely done.
That's one of those textbook deliveries where the rock is in front of the slide foot and the trail foot's right behind it.
Yeah, it's very nice. I know Jamie used to have a series on YouTube, I guess it probably was, and with curling tips with Jamie or something similar to that, where good instructional videos, and they're actually quite good. I saw a number of them, and I thought those are very good. They were kind of before their time too, a little bit. Guard going back up for Brandwood.
I'm going to have to look them up now.
Yeah.
So now with it there behind the tee line and the major threat gone, I'm going to ask Jamie to come in and draw in. So changing gears here. Let's see how Jamie handles the old up weight, down weight. This one needs to bend and it needs to stop. Just a little bit too strong.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for Brandwood now. It can be a mean game sometime. That rock wasn't very much too heavy, but just that little bit. And for ladies, Brandwood, a great possibility here of setting up a potential steal.
So huge opportunity. Laura Horton. This one needs to put the blinker on and take a turn. Now it comes. Now bring it over. Get that little wick and roll it over. Just a little kiss. Nice.
Yeah, that's a good shot. Could have stopped a few inches higher and would have been good too, but that's pretty darn nice. It's one of those when Chelsea indicated where she wanted it, and I'm sure we can't hear them, so I'm sure they're talking about it, but I always find with some of the juniors I do some work with and stuff, they're just a little too casual calling that shot, and you don't always put it exactly where you want it, but you want to call it exactly to a space and not just kind of like, well, tap it in here somewhere. Like, make sure your team knows exactly where you do want it, and sometimes they don't. Get it by. She does.
That does slide by nicely. It's going to come on down, rattle it, and keys up their rock. So, and we have chimed in from our good friend. We're going to take a look at this shot again.
Yeah, this is a really good shot because it moves the second blue back, and you stayed right on top of it. So promoting it in the next shot or on Laurie's last one even is definitely doable. And if you do that, then you're going to sit 2 or 3. So heat's on for Chelsea now a little bit.
And our good friend Seth King has chimed in saying that the channel for the tips was called Curl Up with Jamie.
Okay. I remember the name now. I didn't remember the name before, but there you go. Get some reading material for later there, Dave. You're good.
Absolutely. Now I just have to be that flexible.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm relatively bendy for my size, but not that bendy.
No. So it'll be interesting to see where she wants to put this. I didn't quite catch how deep she wanted to go on this. I assume it's going to be fairly high.
And we conveniently put the link for Jamie's YouTube channel right there in the chat. So you can go right on there and get that.
Well, I don't know that that's where she wanted that, but maybe it is. With only one more rock to come, if you play this out a little bit and assume that Laurie moves these, she'll be sitting 2. And depending on where she stays, how easy will it be for you to do anything with it? It's hard to say. And can you even get shot if you do? So, I don't know.
Well, I think now if you're Chelsea Brandwood, you're trying to avoid the deuce.
Yeah. Yeah, true enough. You might be able to get the force here even with. So.
Whatever shot, Laurie's going to have to make a good one to give herself that opportunity. Now, is there any benefit to running her red that's off the 12-foot on the center?
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, you could do that. If it was your last shot at the end, you wanted to score multiple points, that would be the shot for sure. Now, is it the right shot for now? Yeah, not completely sure that it is. It's very difficult to make, number one, and I don't know that you're going to end up with a good result. I think you could end up with setting Brandwood up for a little bit of a double or inside roll on something. Right now, you're in great shape. Just gotta make this one again, but that's a very possible, Dave. That shot would definitely be sit 3. You're definitely going to sit 3 after you make that if you play it. And they see it. They're just going to not play it right now, and they probably won't get a chance to play it if they don't play it right now. So play the hit on the blue.
That's the biggest reason why I brought it up, because it's a shot that is great and probably won't be there again.
Yeah.
So
And it's sort of with the stagger, with everything where everything is, it's probably relatively safe. But I just don't know what it leaves, and if it leaves something bad.
So, first to 2 for St. George, and this is on the center line guard. Over the top, and just opens everything up.
Yeah, not a good throw for Laurie. Obviously, she tight right out of her hand and never really had much of a chance, that one.
Okay, so that brings up the question, because right now, if Brandwood doesn't throw, St. George can just nail the blue on the beak and get 2 that way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's still not it's not a bad result for St. George's, that rock being gone, because it's definitely difficult for Brandwood here. I don't know what's safe for her right now.
What if you were to come and split the center down to that rock that we were talking about running in, like just there or just above that?
Yeah, just so you take that angle raise takeout away a little bit.
Right, and make the nose hit difficult.
Yeah.
Now that they put the broom behind the rock, I kind of like that better.
Yeah. I kind of like that too. I got to make sure that I'm not in a position where I set her up for that run and have her score 2. So that's the hard part.
Right now, I'm worried about her throwing that angle, because I do think that makes 3 all day.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't disagree with that. I think it's an absolute 2 and more than likely 3. Yes, the back one might somehow jam on the blue and outcount your one that you're running in, but that's even pretty unlikely. So let's see what she decides.
Yeah, they put the broom a couple times, basically right on the top of the 12-foot on the center line. That's where they want to park it. The key shot for sure here for Chelsea Brandwood in the 4th.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if you could draw into where you indicated, basically into the top of the 8-foot there, and just barely take that angle raise takeout away, would be a good shot. If it curls much more than that, you're going to leave the hit for 2, which you'd rather not leave that either if you could help it. Just need a bigger rock. This is a little warm, maybe.
Now it's starting to take the break. It's curling hard. Now it's going to have to manage that line. I think it's going to get there. It's just, is the weight going to be right? This is really close. Sweep it just a little bit, maybe. Oh, I think that might just be good enough. Almost.
It might, but it would have been a lot easier if they'd swept it just another 6 or 8 inches or something.
I know, you watched it the whole way. It was there.
Yeah, I understood early that you wouldn't want to go because you're not 100% sure. But once you get to that Montana's logo or whatever, you got a pretty good sense of where it's going to end up. I don't know that you want to do that. She's not playing it, so you got away with it. But I think we were on the verge of not getting away with that. So
she's going to play the straight run on the blue now. Just go blue, blue.
Yeah, any contact at all, and you're going to score. Now, the blue and the red at the back, it's questionable whether or not the blue might catch enough of the red to move it out to be number something that's not, so she only gets 1. But any contact at all on the front, she's going to score for sure. And I think there's a good chance of 2.
So here's Laurie St. George with her final stone of the 4th end, looking to run back this blue and make 2. This is out there and needs to curl up a little bit.
It does.
And now it comes. It's jumping on him. It's going to be right on the beak, on the one. Back, and you get your 2. So it's a score of 2 for Laurie St. George as she takes a 3-1 lead after 4 here from North Bay. We'll be back after this on Curling Stadium.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Hey Canada, head on down to Montana's and get the best of both worlds. Enjoy our 7-ounce sirloin aged for 50 days, flame grilled and served with your choice of 2 sides and onion rings. Just $25.99 every day. Plus, for a limited time, add a Canadian lobster tail to surf your turf. Only $10 more. Dive into this or our lobster spinach dip, lobster mac and cheese, and more. Only for a limited time. Come for the barbecue, stay for the flavor. Only at Montana's, Canada's home for barbecue.
This is it. It all comes down to this rock. The hours in the gym, the weeks away from my family. This is what I've been training for. And all those voices trying to tear me down, I'm here to silence them. We've given everything we have for a chance to get everything we want.
We're back here. It's end number 5 of the Swiss Chalet Curling Stadium Spiel from the North Bay Granite Club in North Bay, Ontario, the gateway to Northern Ontario. Laurie St. George scored 2 in that last end, and they hold a 3-1 lead. And here's a look at that last shot.
Yeah, this is it didn't look like it was going to get over there enough for a minute, but Emily goes hard on it, gets it there, and then switches sides and everything else. It was just destined to be making this shot. And didn't hit very much. It touched the red, but didn't hit enough of it to move it out, so she gets her deuce. Good shot.
And talking with Connor during the break, we definitely both felt he could have probably swept that last guard just a little bit more if you were Chelsea Brandwood, and that would have made it not as simple of an angle for Laurie.
I would agree 100%. I think that was a mistake. I think it was a mistake on both sides. We did for a minute. We didn't know if it took the angle raise away, and then the other side of it was what you pointed out. If it curls a little bit more, that becomes a much more difficult raise takeout.
The difference between an okay guard and a perfect guard.
Exactly. And it's usually the difference between winning and losing at a lot of different levels of curling too. It's that stage where everybody takes those shots just that little bit more seriously, like we meant what we were talking about a couple of ends ago with precision and knowing exactly where you want it to be and not just kind of, well, we'd like it to be around there somewhere.
Yeah, that's right. It's not. Those are those little differences, and they end up adding up. They show up on the scoreboard eventually, but they don't necessarily show up on the score sheet in because it might still be written down as a make.
Yeah. And not to say that they didn't talk about it. Sometimes you're talking about stuff and you just still don't. You just make a mistake.
Well, we could solve this whole problem, Jim, if we could just get some of those bigger rocks.
Yes.
You should have like a card that once or twice a game you have to just throw one big rock.
Well, you know what, Dave? I played in what year would that have been? Like before I moved, so 1979. As Emily throws a shot against the Scots, and I'll finish the story after you call this one.
Oh, you were doing a fabulous job of it, but Emily's shot is coming on down. It's going to pick it. Does it get the guy in the back? No, it just goes by. does come underneath the corner guard, though, and it's St. George lies too.
Yeah. So we were playing a Scottish team of curlers on Dow's Lake outdoor. I was on the lake in Ottawa, and that would have been before I moved. So I think 79 or 78. And they brought their own rocks with them, and they were all assorted sizes. And some of them were an inch bigger, some of them were an inch smaller, and it was a very different experience for sure. We were very young at the time, and it seemed so frustrating. They would get in the crimpets or whatever we were throwing from, and they just throw it down there, no problem at all. We'd be trying to throw our regular curling stones down there, and we were pretty, we were young, thought we were pretty good. Couldn't get them to the other end most of the time because they just dug in because the running edges are sharp and the Scottish stones weren't. So it was quite a fun experience, and but very, very different. They did have different size rocks. When we joke about that, they actually existed at that point.
Well, there's a fun Bonspiel down in the States, the Rochester Curling Club. They call it Curling the Gathering. It's played much like you're playing one of that skill game Magic, and you have different power-up cards, and you can play them at different times, and things where you can force your opponent to throw with their non-dominant hand and and blindfold it, and various different ways to just be mean. But that's a fun event. There's people who set up their whole calendar around playing it because it's turned into quite the event.
Yeah.
So now Brandwood is going to have to make something else happen. St. George is not going to make it easy applying the pressure here in this end.
Yeah, and this one looks a little warm. Get it over there. A lot of action happening around one single guard.
Yeah, we don't often see things like that. So begs the question, how long are they going to let this guard live?
Yeah, I think as long as she can get in there, she will. But at some point, you're right. I think some point if St. George's makes the right shot here, she might have to get rid of that guard to have any hope of scoring at all. Never mind two.
So here's Sinclair. Working hard to stay on this one. They're going to catch a piece. Now, how much are they going to disturb their own along the way? Kind of skitters on up and leaves a pocket there.
I think the outturn draw here works best of any, to be honest.
I certainly would agree on the outturn. They first indicate the little pop and flop, but the outturn, you're going to set up the angle to be tremendously more favorable. Use that whole wall to your advantage.
Yeah, rather than trying to make a perfect roll to get to there, just make the perfect draw.
Yeah, the guard is certainly long enough. It looks to be about 8 feet off the rings.
Yeah. They obviously don't have access to our feed. Or they just disagree, which is very possible. So this works too, though, if you can just make sure you do it right here.
Well, we're both shooting 100% from our chairs.
Yeah, we are. Absolutely.
This one has to go. To get past it, you do. Now, are you going to lose the shooter? Pretty sure you are. Away it goes. All the way out the outside there.
Yeah, I think she just played the more difficult shot there. I don't think you had to make that as hard as that.
So now all your potential scoring rocks are behind the tee line. St. George will take this opportunity to draw underneath this very persistent guard.
Sinclair will definitely not want this one to slide behind the tee line. And it looks like it might be headed there. Emily's not doing much with it here.
And this one is going to come on down. It's going to settle just behind the tee line. You did it again, buddy.
No. I did wait till she threw it, though.
So now the pocket is available. You're not nearly as bad as Terry.
No. No. Yeah, it's never good. We do games together. The curlers haven't got a chance. So a really big shot here, though, from Brandwood, Dave. It's a must make, I think.
I certainly would agree. Facing 2 right now, and the scoring zone is getting tremendously small. Not a lot of real estate. This rock is on its way. Coming on down. Needs to put the blinker on and slow down. Has to tap the brakes. And now just finish it at the end. And that's a pretty good result.
Yeah, I haven't got it to where the shot's over yet on my screen, but when it does, I'm sure it's going to be perfect.
I did a lot of guessing.
Yeah. That's perfect. You're right. There's no question about that. That's about as good as you can possibly make it.
So here's St. George on the way with her first of 2. Riley trying to work it over. Now Sinclair joining her. Going to come on down and end up directly on top of Shot Rock. Locking in there pretty hard.
Yeah, really tough call here for Brantwood. It's if it was the last shot, it wouldn't be too hard. You just got to draw that gap between the 2 rocks. But on her first one, got to be really careful you don't give Laurie St. George's a chance to end up with Shot Rock by disturbing that at all. Just trying to see if there's a way that can, if you can hit well, you can't hit it right now with that guard anyway, but if you could hit the top red and onto the blue, onto the red, which spins off the other red, and you could actually maybe get rid of most of the red ones here. But that's all pending no guard there, and there is a guard there, so that's not going to work so good.
Yeah, that's a lot of rocks to move.
Yeah. I don't know how Brandwood keeps alive a possibility of 2, though. I don't know if there's even any way for her to do that.
No, this looks like it has force written all over it. Her first of 2 on the way down. Come on in and join in the party. This is going to work on right down to it. Now, they did put a little bit of separation in there.
Yeah.
Don't know if that's going to be able to help them.
No, I don't really think that shot did much, to be honest. But I don't know what she should have done that would have been any better. I think she was. I assume she was sort of trying to lead that a little higher and take the draw away from St. George, but I'm just not even sure.
Now, if you're Laurie St. George, is it really? I don't think it's beneficial to even try to throw the draw because you might leave it in a spot where you can help.
Yeah, exactly. I think you try to take this draw away, and really Brantford would probably throw it away. I don't see anywhere where she could score or take a risk. The only rock that's out there that she can work with is, whatever, 7 feet over the hog line, way up there on the right-hand side as we look down the sheet. And I don't see there's anything worth trying with that shot.
No, I certainly agree with you there. So here's St. George with her last of the fifth. Just looking to put it right there on the top of the 12-foot. And stop. Don't think it left a path. It might have, though. You might as well try to throw it.
Like coming through that port sort of thing?
Yeah.
And the reverse stagger. Yeah, probably. No, I shouldn't say probably impossible. It's probably possible, but just barely. You're going to have to almost hit the outside blue one.
And almost hit the tight red one.
Yeah.
I think this is a shot that if you threw it 100 times, you might make it twice. But there's still those 2 times.
That's right.
So Chelsea Brandwood, she lies 1. Needs to grab the side of the button through a needle. So coming on down, you got to play really tight to this first one. You're going to have plenty of room there now. You got to get past the second one.
Yeah.
No, not a chance. It's going to be just a single point. So it's 3-2 after 5. St. George will have the hammer in 6 when we come back from North Bay.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effort efficiency, it is trusted. World's best curlers, and it's quite simple in the Hardline Revolution.
Don't forget your brooms.
Yep, you got it.
Come on up. Well, what do you got? You got 1, you got 2,
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
We're back here in the 6th end for the North Bay Granite Club, the Swiss Chalet Curling Stadium Spiel. Here on Curling Stadium, we are so happy to have you join us here. Dave Schmel and Jim Nix, Connor Sims with you. If you haven't subscribed to Curling Zone, do us a favor and click on that little subscribe button. It really helps us out and lets you know all the different action. We make it really easy to catch all the curling from across the country and across the world. go right into curlingzone.com. Look on the left-hand side of the screen. You'll see all the scores from the major events with direct streaming links. We are your one-stop shop for curling. So give us that like and subscribe. And once again, we truly appreciate everyone who joins us. So that was a really interesting end that all developed around one guard.
Yeah, rarely do you see that many rocks coming around the same guard, and that guard never ever getting moved at all. And it's just a case for Brantwood rather, that there was always the possibility she might be able to turn that into a couple back there, and just never quite got there. Both teams played 2 or 3 shots in a row there that didn't actually accomplish much, but there was nothing really else to play. Everything just curled at the same place, and it was kind of strange. And Chelsea really had no shot on her last one. She took a shot, but she really didn't have a shot, I don't think, at the out-turn draw there.
So both teams all in here right now, it looks like.
6th end, always a big end, and just with a 1-point difference, it's a big end for either team to score here. Even just a single would be good for both teams if it came to that.
So this is Brenda Chapman. Looking to take a little play on this red one here, but ending up on her own. And you didn't want to do that, Jim.
No, absolutely. Worst thing that could have happened by far. I don't know what happened there, actually. I thought she definitely didn't have a lot of weight, but, had enough to knock that one through, so it wasn't super light. She had to be inside, I guess. Or she threw a weight that Chelsea wasn't expecting, one of the two. But, yeah, you've just lost your center guard, so definitely not a good result.
You see St. George lining up where she wants to hit this stone. She's perfectly content to play remove the blue rock. Emily Riley. Sinclair holding that line. Gonna have to hurry. It's moving quite a bit. Gotta get there. No, you're on your own. You still remove it off the deflection, but that definitely opens things up.
Yeah, it did. And obviously a little bit tight right out of her hand there. Jamie was on it right off the bat, so St. George probably called her on, and this one's just going to curl over. And she probably got a little fortunate here how it ended up. She had to hit a hair more of that, then it's going to roll out and doesn't spread things up quite so nicely. So it did move it around pretty good for St. George's. Brandwood now just really going to have to find a way to get out of this end with a force or a blank or whatever. She doesn't have much working for her as far as stealing the end goes or forcing to one here yet.
Getting the hit and the flop towards center there. Now with this hit and roll, you're looking to come all the way underneath the guard if you can?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's not so much that you have to bury or want to bury. It's just I'd like to get it away from the red one and the other red as much as I could, and that would be a great spot for it.
So the stolen away from Jamie Sinclair. Makes contact. Rolls all the way on over to the wings and just holds on to the side.
Brandwood thinking about how to get out of this. The double is there. I don't know that you're trying to make the double, but if it's headed that way, you might like to make it.
There's a lot of distance there, but you might as well take a run at it. Lauren gives this her best shot. You're on it. You make contact. You're going to go on over and just underneath.
Almost.
But now you can put 12 feet of space between those stones if you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or draw underneath the corner, as Laurie seems to want to do.
I don't know if they'll end up throwing this shot.
Yeah, they're going to draw to the, looks like about to the 4 foot or 8 foot on the opposite side. I like this better.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, and I like where she's going to throw this too. So she's throwing it in a position that if Brandwood decides to ignore it and come around the corner guard, St. George's would still be shot. So she's not going way over into the 12 foot, but it's getting away from that guard. I don't know why you want to go around that guard. It's if you do that and it doesn't quite, you go with foot too deep or something like that, your end could be over. You could end up being forced, where right now it looks really good for getting two.
So Riley and Sinclair just a touch behind the tee line. We'll try to roll underneath the corner. Gordon. Makes that shot, rolls underneath.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty good effort. You're going to be impossible to put it somewhere where Laurie can't get at it, but this was pretty darn close to that spot. Might have been enough for her to help her escape this situation.
So now you see Jamie Sinclair. They will throw that draw underneath, and they get just a piece under cover, but
it's a nice shot. But
yeah, I mean, it could possibly jam.
It could jam, but the other side of it is if she can avoid the jam and pop it through the hole there somewhere, she might be able to force a single for St. George's. And I think she has to play it anyway, to be honest.
So this will be interesting because I feel like this is the first one that we've seen off the center line.
Yeah, going on the out turn for sure. She threw one a couple ends ago to score going off the center line, but But yeah, we haven't seen many of these. Haven't seen many of these all week. It's a big shot. This looks
This
really
one
good.
It needs to take the curl. Now it does. The line looks pretty nifty. You're on it. Do you avoid the jam? Oh, you got right over the top, and you lie. 1-2. Nice little touch shot there.
Yeah, that was a great curling shot. That was not easy, that shot. You know, you're trying to throw enough weight to get rid of it. You got to find that hole in between the other two rocks. And top of that, you can't even see all of the one you're throwing at. So just a heck of a shot for Chelsea Brandwood. There is a possible double for St. George's coming back, but it's probably a little too steep for her to play, but maybe not. I think she'd be happy with rolling over there somewhere behind that guard. But at least now for Brandwood, if she does roll over there and doesn't make the double, then she will be behind the tee line. So it will give Chelsea a chance to come down and sit on it and force a single for St. George's.
That was really a big shot for Brandwood to set this up. Now here's a stone from St. George's.
So
that picked.
Yeah.
That's going dead sideways now. Can you find a way to make chicken salad out of it? Oh, no. There's no chicken salad to be had there.
Yeah, I don't know if we have a shot of that from the delivery side of it, but it'd be interesting to see what happened there.
It looks right there. Yep. Right as we picked up the replay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just a hair early.
Maybe just a hair by a hair.
By a hair, yeah. That doesn't happen too much anymore. But occasionally you will get a fiber or something or a hair.
Well, that's why the two of us are losing our hair.
Yeah.
Less of an issue.
Yeah. That's one thing I don't actually, you haven't actually seen. That's one thing doesn't happen with. I'm pretty old, but losing hair has never been a problem for me.
Really? Good for you, buddy.
Yeah, losing weight can be a problem sometimes, but losing hair is no problem. I just don't have. I have a luxury of a big, thick head of hair.
Oh, God bless you, buddy.
Yeah.
So Brandwood, looking to throw the guard and put the force on for sure. Get across the hog line. Yes, you just do. Well, no shot for two. The force is on. Yeah, but she could have made that so much harder, Dave. Like, even if you run the risk, you take a risk of it going into the house a little bit, sit, on the center line at top of the 8-foot or something, and this is a whole lot harder. She didn't have to be quite that worried about going down there, I don't think. On this ice, you can't. That's just, like I say, you could throw this shot and miss it on the low side yet. Although she's just playing draw weight by the look of it. Or back button, back four, maybe at most. So I'd be sure Broom's going to be down the whole time here. Yeah. Final stone in the 6th. Looking to take that single in the even end to have a 2-stone lead. Laurie St. George from Laval, Quebec. 27 years of age. Keep a broom down, keep it clean. Just need to move this guy off the button. Line looks pretty good. Wait looks happy. Walk it over a little bit just to make sure. No problem, and the skipper makes that single. 4-2 in the favor of St. George. We'll be back after this. You're watching Curling Stadium.
Hey Canada, there's something smoking new at Montana's. Beef brisket is now seasoned and then slow smoked in-house for 12 hours every day. Try it in our new Austin cheesesteak sandwich and other barbecue favorites. Only at Montana's, Canada's home for barbecue.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, Spiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
Welcome back to the North Bay Granite Club in North Bay, Ontario. It's a Swiss Chalet Curling Stadium Spiel. Action in the seventh end. Chelsea Brandwood from Niagara Falls has the hammer, down by 2. And Laurie St. George escaped that end there. Picking up the single, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, nice final shot, no question about that. But I just, sometimes you can get a little over aggressive in curling and it costs you. And in that case, I think Brandwood was just a little bit under aggressive. She could have made that shot so much more difficult and been sitting 3 and having it be a far bigger challenge for Laurie St. George to score just by taking that shot into the top of the 12-foot or even just a hair short of the rings or whatever, somewhere in that neighborhood. And, it would have made a big difference, I think, in how difficult, at least in how difficult Laurie's shot was. She still may have made it, but it would have been a far tougher task. But, in 6 and 2, a big end to score. So I think she just lost a bit of an opportunity maybe there to maybe even pick up a steal of 1.
Well, you see Emily getting ready to throw that stone. They found a little bit of schmutz on the bottom of it and de-schmutzed it.
Yes.
Didn't know I was going to use all the technical terms, did you?
No, I didn't, and I didn't know what. I'll look that one up after and see what that is. It probably comes in some dictionary somewhere. Schmutz.
It's Yiddish.
Yeah. So it starts with, I guess, CH, just like another name.
Yeah.
I knew. Okay.
You say, hey, Jim, you got a little bit of schmutz on your face.
Yeah. I don't think I like this shot. I'm surprised. I think I'd be throwing another corner guard for starters, and if I wasn't doing that, I'd be going around the corner guard. If I wasn't doing that, I'd be freeze. I'd be doing almost anything other than hitting this. But you better sweep it.
Well, yeah, if you had brushed that, you would have landed right underneath the corner.
Yeah.
But instead, you skittered all the way out to the side. Now, Laurie's going to apply the guard to that. I'd be half tempted to just remove the rock and the wings with the 2-rock lead, but
Yeah, that would be the plan A for a lot of teams, I think, for sure. Just going to throw this one and then, I guess, and then wait and see what Brandwood decides to do. I'm not quite sure now what she will do, but
this one needs to curl up just a skosh more. Not quite there.
Chelsea, Brandwood, and I are going to be on a different page in this whole end, I can see. Just,
And we are going to throw that run back, and, well, we made it, so that's a good shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
You see right here, the delivery came on out. Brushed it just perfectly. And 1-2, good night, nurse. Away they go. I see the choices there for Laurie. She's thinking of drawing under. Prefers that. I think Jamie was suggesting hitting the one on the wings.
Yeah, or even if you just maybe like peel the guard towards that one, if you like, peel one of those corners or towards that one, and you might make the double and get rid of at least one of the guards. But with 2 guards up there now, I guess you figure she might as well go.
Just squeaks by, and that is fantastic.
Yeah, very nice shot. Well, I don't like playing hits in this situation, but I think you might have to here. And if you can make it really good, you're going to be in really good position.
Well, it looks like Chelsea is just absolutely dead set on messing with your brain in this end.
Yeah. That's okay. If it works out for her, that'll be good.
Yeah, well, if this shot is well thrown, it's going to be fantastic. And it is well thrown, and it is fantastic.
Yeah. I know nothing about this game, obviously.
Now, look at this well-thrown shot, Jim.
I know, it's beautiful. And she even threw it hard. Like, I thought, okay, if you're at least going to throw this, you're not going to throw it very hard. And she did. Just about got away from them, but it didn't. So,
and they're lying. Yeah, they're lying too underneath a pair of guards. And now you put St. George on the chase.
Yeah, St. George now is playing her way into a 3-ender possibly. It's she, no matter what Jamie does with this, I guess she could roll and be shot rock, but that would be tough. And Brandwood comes around the guards no matter where it is, and there's a possibility of a 3 developing back there.
So Jamie Sinclair taking this one off the wings. They're going to hit. The roll is going to come across, probably into the wide open. Well, the somewhat open.
Well, with this ice, the way it curls, it's pretty close to wide open. Now, a lot of teams I know would play this as a straight come around to the 4-foot. I don't know what Chelsea Brandwood will end up doing.
Yeah, her first indication was to hit it and roll open. Let's see what she decides to do.
From where she's standing, it would look like she's still leaning that way, Dave.
Yeah, it's certainly the call for that broom. Probably looking at about a hack weight shot here. Maybe a touch more.
Yeah, the one saving grace for her here is that with a 4-2 lead, you'd feel fairly comfortable that St. George's isn't going to just leave it there and go around the guard and bury one on you. But
both brushers on this one hard to get it by. Trying to get by the guard. They will, and the roll comes all the way to the side of the 12-foot.
yeah, perfect once again. So you can see Laurie's looking at playing the hit, and I'm sure it pains her a little bit to have to hit this one, but with the 2-point lead, that's what she's going to do.
Yeah, so Brandwood has worked her way into the fact where at this point St. George has pretty much conceded a deuce, it almost seems.
Well, the thing is that she hits this, no matter what she does, she's not going to be second shot even. So Brandwood was just come around the guard and, like I say, be in a really good position to maybe get 3.
Yeah, still a possibility for sure.
Yeah.
This shot from Sinclair is on the way. Gonna catch a piece of it. Shooter rolls to the back. And now, as you mentioned, it's going to draw to that 8-foot underneath cover. Maybe 4-foot. I think the 4-foot's a little bit more appealing.
Yeah, you don't want to go super deep here because it's possible that St. George's might just follow you in, and you'd rather keep your scoring area as large as you can. So I think I would try to maybe bite the 4-foot here. I'd be pretty happy with that.
So final Vice Rock on the way. This needs to hook.
It does that.
It's going to end up settling just behind the tee line, and that gives Laurie a chance to get out of the end.
Yeah, you definitely didn't want to end up there for sure.
But you call this, you better make it.
Yeah. 4 feet shorter, and it's perfect, but it's an end killer almost there if St. George's makes a decent shot here. You might go from having a really realistic shot at 3 to having to make a shot for 1 here in a minute or two. That's unfortunate for Brandwood, but like we say, St. George, she has to make it first. Laurie has to make it. Can't afford to bounce off it or anything like that. It has to be good.
And they do still have that relatively long guard close to the center line that can run into the 4-foot, so that's available.
Yeah.
The double raise is also available. So there's options with angles for blue here. So this has to be really well thrown by Laurie. So the Quebec Scotty Skip with her first in the 7th. Tracking nicely. It's all about, is the weight right? Is the weight right? Left some separation there. I think that's just a little bit too strong, Jim.
Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely leaves her. The only good thing for she will leave an even better pocket there for St. George's. So it's going to be hard to decide what to do.
I don't know. I think that now that 3 is a possibility, I have to try.
Yeah.
Maybe even if you throw it and you hit and take a little bit of a bigger roll so you don't have a pocket. You leave only that one stone in the back. So roll this thrown stone like into the 8-foot even out of the 4-foot.
Yeah. Yeah, you could do it a couple ways if you on the overcurl, even if you went to, to the 12-foot, as long as you were still sitting 1, 2, 3 at the end of it, and let Laurie throw the same shot she just threw and see if she makes it better. Then you have to draw for 1. If she doesn't, you might score a bundle.
So big setup shot here for Chelsea Brandwood in the 7th. Trailing 2, having hammer. This one has to go. It's really tight on the line. Got to get past the guard first for it to even have a chance to be good. Sneak by. Yes, you do. Make the contact. Now, where does it roll? It goes on over to the 8-foot. It does leave a good pocket, but a well-thrown stone.
Yeah, it was a good throw, and it was a very well swept throw. I didn't think it was going to hang up enough for them, but they went hard all the way down the sheet and just barely got by. You can see here, there's not a lot of room right there, probably half an inch or so.
I thought it was a goner, Jim. I won't lie.
Yeah.
So, Laurie St. George, this is a must make.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the good thing for her is it's definitely an area that will curl. She just threw it, and she was only probably 1.5 feet too heavy. So I think it's if I was a betting man, I'd be betting on her making this one, making it good.
Here's her final stone. Already on the curl side. Trying to work it over, get it there and work it over, get all the way down into that pocket.
You don't want to be heavy.
You did leave some separation. And Jim, I think you can throw a long run for 4 right now.
Oh, you can definitely throw the long run for multiple score. Yeah, I agree. Question becomes whether or not you can go by that guard tight enough to do the same thing. Maybe not 4, but can you get 2 or 3 by coming around that guard? I don't know. It's you got over there pretty good last time, but you got to throw less weight this time. And
yeah, I don't know if you can make 3 past the guard.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It does look like you have a long ways. Be interesting to see what she decides here.
Yeah, for my money, I think you have to play this long run.
Yeah. The choice is play the long run for a big end and live with getting nothing if you don't make it. And the other shot coming around and trying to get that on the overcurl is quite possibly you score, as long as you don't throw it, a full-born takeout. But as long as you throw like a back line shot, you probably will score. But you might score just 1.
So definitely a big decision. worth some speaking about because this is likely the shooting match.
Yeah.
It looks like she's going to try to chase it.
Yeah, I'm just not positive it's there, but I'm not surprised this is their decision to do this either. So
Now, this is easiest way to score 1 for sure, and probably the easiest way to score 2. Don't know if you can get enough on it to get 3.
yeah.
It's going to be really close, though.
Yeah, I think you're getting 1 or you're getting 3. That's my thing, but or you're giving up 1. That's the 3 options here. This is just such a delicate shot. You got to have
up. There we go.
Changing it up. Yeah.
I probably did not look quite as good from the hack.
No.
Now you want to make sure you're in the right spot. Take a big breath. Chelsea Brandwood, final stone. And number 7, looking to run this back and make a bundle. On the brush hard. You got to hold it there. You're over curling. It's going to whack, and it's going to be a steal of 1 for Laurie St. George. And they'll take a 5-2 lead heading into the 8th. We'll be back on Curling Stadium right to this.
Swiss Chalet's festive special is back. Canada's favorite rotisserie chicken, cranberry sauce, stuffing, Lindor chocolates, and a scratch and win card where everyone's a winner. It's a tradition truly worth sharing. The festive special, only at Swiss Chalet.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
For over 20 years, the Sandra Schmurler Foundation has granted more than $9 million to hospitals across Canada for life-saving equipment for premature and critically ill babies. In the past 4 years alone, $4 million has been granted thanks to the curling community's incredible generosity. The need continues year-round, and with your help, we can ensure every baby has the chance to grow up and become a champion, just like Sandra.
Join us this March for the House of Hearts Charity Bonspiel in Duluth, Minnesota. Help raise funds for Project Joy, who provides meals for hungry kids in our community. Every donation helps to ensure no child goes hungry. Join us and make a difference. Together, we can spread joy.
And we're back. It's the final end of the Swiss Chalet Curling Stadium Spiel here from the North Bay Granite Club. 24 teams took up for battle. We're down to just these 2. And right now it is Laurie St. George with a 5-2 lead over Chelsea Brandwood in the 8th. And Dave Schmel here with Jim Nixon. Jim, man, that was a big opportunity for Chelsea Brandwood at that last end.
Yeah, it really was. It was Laurie has a 5-2 lead, but she was not very far from not having a lead at all in that end. It was, it was a really tough shot deciding what to do there. Laurie made a nice draw around, and Brandwood trying to decide to play a little bit safer shot, maybe only get a point, but maybe getting more, to having a really good, realistic shot at it, knowing that if she didn't make it, she was going to drop a point. Really kind of a team shot, and I think they all talked about it, and we're all on the same page. So take a run at it, and it really looked like she just was tight, a little tight on the delivery right out of her hand. Really took a little while to get on it, but never really had a chance. About halfway down, it was pretty obvious it wasn't gonna stay straight enough for them. But good try.
Absolutely, and I almost feel like, don't want to be overly critical because it was certainly a very difficult shot, but when you go and change a shot, especially a key shot like that from the hack, almost feel like it's worth skating down and, really making sure you have your broom placement right and you're 100% in the right page there.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing to do, Dave. To be honest, that's just reset the whole shot and make sure your third and yourself, particularly the two of you, are definitely on the same page and on ice.
Yeah. Once again, that's not an easy shot at all. But if you made it, you'd be looking at a 6-2 advantage.
Yeah. 6-4 advantage.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's good too.
Yeah.
I know the definition of schmutz. It's dirt or another unpleasant substance, as confirmed by the Oxford English Dictionary.
Brandwood has 2 corner guards to work with, so she has the makings.
Yep, gotta play for it now. St. George is just gonna pile them in. And you still can't afford to address them. So you see the call there, looking to maybe take out the center guard and roll underneath the corner.
Yes, it almost worked for them a couple hands ago, or maybe last time. Maybe it was. It's hitting these high ones when I don't know that really should, but she is in a awkward position here because she will have to move them. But I just don't think I would be in a hurry to move them yet because I absolutely have to get a couple rocks where I want them.
Now, gonna have to take this one the other way, and you're gonna get there the other way. Did it skid her onto the rings? No, not quite. But it does leave a double guard there now.
Yeah.
So do you go rip it and tear in here?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I'm surprised it's taken this long to call this. Laurie has fooled me a few times this weekend, though, with her 2 very talented and good skips in herself and in Jamie Sinclair. I'm surprised a couple of calls that are taking longer than I think, and sometimes even the end result. It was almost like she's trying to decide, do we throw another tight guard here? And that, it's just not what you're ever going to do at this level. It's hard to lose a game if you peel these corners.
So Sinclair on the peel. Got to hold it. Probably only going to get the back one. Oh.
Wow.
That's a very interesting result. You just kind of nudged both guards out of the way. Let's take another look at this.
Yeah, this is really kind of mini disaster. You have a 3-point lead, so it's not as disastrous as it could be, but really, Brantford now is set up. Brandwood, I keep calling it Brantford. Brandwood's set up to have a really realistic shot at getting your 3-ender.
Well, step one, you got to put one underneath the guard.
Exactly, yeah.
Especially now that they kind of got even a little bit closer to the rings. The guards themselves are splittable on.
Yeah.
So St. George is going to be really, really careful here. I think she just called the either or shot.
Yeah, not something that works out sometimes, but should be okay on this one, I think.
Coming with firm weight, the broom's down right away. Trying to pick the one in the back. They're going to get the one in the top. They clear it almost all the way up, but not all the way. So now step 2, put another one in.
Yeah, they're making a bit of a mess of this end. You're still up 3, though. Can't forget that. You're up 3, and there's only 4 rocks to come for Brandwood.
Stone on the way. Got to get this second one in. They're liking the weight. Does need to bend significantly. Now here it goes. Grab that finish. You come right on down. That's not a bad spot to be.
No, it's not too bad at all. It didn't really finish quite as hard as I thought it would in there, but
do you like playing this open one?
do I like playing the open one? Yeah. Got to keep remembering I have a 3-point lead, and she's going to have to do something with my rock on the other side, which is not going to be real easy. Amy Sinclair probably hoping that just has a nice, easy, wide open, nothing can go wrong shot here.
And that is indeed what transpires. Although he did lose a shooter.
Yeah.
Would have been helpful to hang around.
Yeah.
So now Brandwood has to start playing over here on this side. And I think that if you can find a way to utilize that St. George rock to your advantage. So just kind of maybe if you could throw a draw weight shot onto the inside of your own blue and get a better freeze onto the St. George stone and sneak underneath the guard. Don't know if that's ever even possible.
No, I think you're on the right track, Dave. I think if you're playing like a back 4 foot, maybe at most shot on your own, still leave it in the rings behind the guards and sit at a little bit more direct line on the red, if that's what you're saying. And I think that's a really good call. Because you're right. It's right now it's hard to use your own stone on the red. And that's kind of what she's going to do here, I think. Yeah, I like that shot. I think that's a good shot.
They do lie 1-3 right now.
Yeah. St. George is going to try to take this out, but if she doesn't lose her own, then you're going to have a definite pocket to draw down to again, and you're going to sit on the red one, maybe in the right line, and definitely a 3 is in the works here.
Yeah, I was actually hoping to make that shot by coming across the face of the stone.
Yeah.
And making it the other way, but this isn't bad either.
Yeah.
Only downside is this takeout is much easier, and I'd be trying to throw with the weight to remove my own rock as well. Because it's not helping me.
Yeah, that may be what happens here. And if it does, then I'm sure you're going to see Brandwood just go right around it. She could also play the tap on the 2 that are there and get one in the rings and set up a better guard. You could stagger the guard on them and have 2 of them behind there and not be able to remove them. You might have to force to play a draw.
So the rock from St. George picks the Brandwood stone out. So couple different options here. I definitely like that tap, which you suggested.
Yeah, I don't think I want to hit the red one right yet. Is all. I can't get what I need off the red one. If I play the red one, I can't roll behind the corner, which means I'm going to be wide open. So I don't like that shot. I know that if you go behind the corner by yourself, then she may just decide to split the rings and leave you nothing. So that's a factor.
Yeah, I think the only way you get behind the corner is to throw a ton of weight and roll dead flat. But
yeah,
I don't think I want to be throwing that heavy when I need to score 3.
No. Tough call. Wouldn't be surprised. No, she's gonna maybe play a hit. I wouldn't have been surprised if she just played basically a draw, freeze to the red one, and say, "Okay, Laurie, you do whatever you're gonna do, and I'll see what happens." The problem is if she guards it, then you may not have a chance. But you're gonna need a little bit of good fortune here, no matter what it is. You can hit this if you want to. You could hit this if it. Okay, I'm not sure if it sets up right or not now, but if you hit this and rolled a little bit towards your own, you would set up a takeout. But as long as you didn't set up the double, you could do that. And if Laurie St. George's ever hits and rolls out, then you play the split on the high one, which is a long, difficult split, but it's possible. At this point, you just want something that's possible on your last one.
This stone's curling up. It's going to come across the face. Now, where is the roll going to be? It clips it. You grab a little piece of your own, and you lie too.
Yeah, I think that was a great shot.
Pretty well undercover. Nice shot indeed.
Yeah. I didn't know that you could get quite that good. I knew you could get close to that. I just didn't know if you could get quite that much out of it. It's a terrific shot.
Now, Jim, if you just fire on those guards at the nose, do you make 2 blue go?
Yeah, if you're Laurie, yeah, you probably do. She may look at this yet, because right now she's got a tough task to get rid of one, but I think you're going to throw an intern takeout at the one that's closer to the 4 foot and plan on just skinnying those guards and getting rid of whatever's there.
I think there's a real chance you lose your shooter here doing that.
Oh, I think there is too. I don't think you're ever keeping the shooter on this shot. Question is, can you get them both of them, which you probably can.
I don't know how you get 2 to go.
You'd have to hit with a pretty big weight, hit a quarter of a rock on the inside and have it kick out. And I don't know if these circles are lively enough or these rocks are lively enough to make that.
So Laurie St. George facing a little bit of a doozy here in the 8th. Has to get just a piece of this here. On it really hard. Now we're off. Oh, it needs to get there. It's tracking. Do you get one out? No, you don't. And Brandwood still lies too.
Yeah, I thought she was going to get a little better result than that. So here's the question. Here's the big question they're pondering here.
Well, I'll ponder with you. I'm shooting for the win.
Yeah. It's just such a long roll. She's looking at playing that way, so that those 2 rocks would end up being the 2 that go in. I was actually thinking of it on the intern and hit a half a rock, which knocks the other rock in, and my shooter goes in way over on the other side.
Now, see, the advantage of playing it this way is you have the 2 stones in the back to catch the one that you're raising.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you have 14 feet of rings to hit almost.
Yeah.
Or, well, if not 14, a lot.
Yeah.
So you catch it there. I almost think you throw heavy board weight at this. I don't see how you hurt it with that.
Yeah.
Because you're going to lose RNG in the transfer the first time. You got plenty of catcher in the back. Then you just have to get it to skitter on over. Huge shot now for the win.
Yeah, that's a very exciting shot. It would be an amazing shot to make. It's going to be interesting to see how close you can come on this. Just can't throw it hard enough that if you hit it on the nose, you don't want to take one of your rocks out. That's whatever that weight that is what you got to throw.
Chelsea Brandwood from Niagara Falls. Final stone in the 8th. Trying to split these two on for the win. Needs to. Now you got to hold straight. Hold straight.
Really close.
On the first one. You tap it on. Do you skitter that on? Does it get on? No, you don't. And it's going to be an extra end. Mark up 3, and we're tied at 5. Bonus curling when we come back from North Bay. Right after this, you're watching Curling Stadium.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Yeah.
Play like the 3, I mean.
And we're back here. You might have caught us in our conversation between ends. Jim Nix, Connor Sims with you for the North Bay Granite Club. It's a Swiss Chalet Curling Stadium Spiel. And let's take another shot at that last end of the 8th.
Yeah, so these guys opted to play this shot, which would be raise both those rocks into the rings. And you can see them sweeping, and then they came off it, and they just needed to stay on a little bit more. It had to hit that back rock just a little bit thinner, and it would have been made. Just such a good try. Disappointing.
That was so unbelievably close. But here we are now in the extra end. Laurie St. George has the hammer in for Brandwood. That's a bad thing that just happened there, having that guard slip in.
Yeah, that's a big mistake right very early in this end for sure.
And that rock's going to be dispatched. Sayonara, see you later.
Well, she absolutely has to get this one in the right place.
This needs to be a guard, and it really needs to be on the center line, too. And this ends up
that's
right on the center line, just above the Montana's logo. All the great food sponsors at this club, Swiss Chalet, Montana's, making me hungry. Now here's Emily Riley. And they're going to bring this one in because they can't take that guard off the center line. It is behind the tee line, though.
Yeah, it is.
So second guard going up. Might leave some opportunity later. Working this one around. The line is absolutely beautiful, Jim Nix.
Yeah, really nice shot. It was a couple of good shots after that start, for sure. Laurie's able to peel now. Georges will go up probably and just try to make the single peel here, I'd imagine.
Emily Riley. The normal second on this team's a no stranger to the peel shot. And there it goes. And we're going to see these get exchanged for a while. You got to make each one of these right. Like we mentioned earlier, you just can't throw one of these away.
No.
If you're going to execute this steal, these all have to be perfect. This one is a little bit too heavy. It's going to get there for the line, but gonna leave it.
Not too bad. Still got whatever
Yeah,
that is.
probably.
16 part.
Yeah, probably still going to throw the single peel. Because you don't ever want to leave one.
No.
Jamie Sinclair with her first. The three-time U.S. national champion.
See if somebody flinches here a little bit. I think you'll go another for Brandwood. I think she has to do this. Both mate stones and maybe even her first stone, as long as as long as St. George's keeps trying to peel them away. But at some point, she'll probably start to think she may ignore those. And now what do I do? And I think the big mistake here is to play that hit in the back one early or too early, freeze or whatever it is you're going to play to the back one.
Definitely a battle of wills here. Now, this one here now, he said moving to vice rack, new player throwing the guard. Curls up. Just about the same distance.
Yep.
Still should be good enough to just elicit the straight peel. You could have, imagine if you want, take it the other way and try to remove everything with this one, but...
Yeah, you could. I think you're not in bad position here yet, so stay with what's working for you.
Certainly, Jamie has to wait for that shot.
Yeah.
So, another guard.
Yeah, a little higher wouldn't be bad. This one doesn't look like it's going to be higher. Definitely don't want to get too close.
Yeah, we're burning up that same spot, and you just keen it up with every rock just a little bit, even if we are late in the game.
Yeah.
Do you take on the double peel now?
You might. You have to be comfortable with the possibility it might jam because you're going to have to peel it in the way that gets rid of your shooter. You don't want to just play it straight back and make that double peel. That doesn't really help you much.
Emily Riley making her feelings known. They are going to line it up. I feel like it's a good time for it, Jim.
Yeah, I think it is too. I mean, you'd have to be very, very unlucky to leave the blue one in a bad place. And, you know, with a little bit of luck on your side, you get rid of everything here. And really, there's nothing in play anywhere, which obviously would be a great situation for the St. Clair or St. George's team.
So Jamie Sinclair, looks like this one's on the outside edge.
A little wide, I think.
Going to get just a straight peel. That's fine. No harm there.
No.
Now, Jim, I think you need to throw a guard with your first one.
I would be thinking guard here as well. And if you're going to go in, then at least just do what you have there. Don't try to take this out and roll. Just try to make sure you throw a freeze to it. But I'm throwing a guard as well. I'm still going to put that next one up there.
I want to thank all of you for tuning in to Curling Stadium here. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. Throw the video a like. Helps us out a great deal. You chose to spend time with us, and we thank you for that. And you've gotten your money's worth, and you didn't even have to pay. So Chelsea Brandwood with her first rock here in the extra. She's going to play on down to this one in the back. The line looks pretty good on it.
Yeah,
it's all about where the weight ends up.
I think she's got a really good shot. That's very nice, actually.
Daylight shot.
Let's see it again. There's really nothing special here. It's just playing a freeze, and she threw really almost perfect weight and put it in a position where St. George is probably going to make a play on it, but it means she's probably going to blast it out, and it's going to leave you that guard to work with, which is really all you can hope for at this point.
So now the three players in the rink.
Some people might choose to run the front one and just run it back towards that and try to make them all and have no guard there to work with. Worst case scenario, you end up with, she ends up getting a chance to guard something that's in the house, but some people would take that risk knowing that no matter what you do here, she's got the guard to come around anyway, and I'd rather have her not coming around to guard.
But if you ever walk it by, then you could end up leaving your shooter, missing everything in the back.
Yeah.
This is the safer call for sure.
Yeah.
But Chelsea Brandwood has done her job here. Made it extremely difficult on Laurie St. George's.
Yeah, they've thrown some really good shots. So once they got past that very first shot, everything they've thrown has been pretty close to perfect. Those center guards, we might have thought they should have been a few feet shorter just to be safe, but they worked out well and they weren't bad. It wasn't like they were going in setting up doubles.
So the first. It's going to catch just the edge. How much do we move? All right, you kicked it out. So now here you go. You just go. Let's take another look at it.
Yeah, I'd be interested in hearing if they wanted to just pick this as they did, or if they were actually expecting to kind of just blast the whole thing out, and her red one would have went as well, because it might turn out that saving that red one is a good thing for her. And at first, I thought it was all going to go.
Yeah, it does leave that saver rock there. So now, I don't think you're ever doing anything with the red rock. You had to just draw here, right, buddy?
That's what I would do. Yes, I think that's what most people would do. I'm not sure with these guys. These guys have played a couple of hits that surprised me, so she might play the hit and roll. Thought being for her, I guess, would be that then the red ones are gone. She's going to have to make a good shot. If I try to draw and I leave it, even shot rock at the top of the 4 foot and it's half open, she can just pick it out. I don't know if I would agree with that, but at the same time, it's just what they've been fairly consistent in playing this sort of a shot versus what I'm thinking they're going to play.
Going to give your opponent pretty much the whole 4 foot here.
Yeah. And that's if you stay and you don't roll a little too far.
Chelsea Brandwood with her final in the 9th.
She's showing some really nice weight on some of these takeouts.
It's a nice quiet weight. Now we're going to try to walk it over. Get that roll just right. Hit it. Roll it. Stop under cover. Not bad at all. It leaves about a third of a rock open.
Yeah, I think that was as good as you were going to do, and with that particular call, no question. And really, it was a pretty good run, and that's what they wanted to do, and they made it. So they're willing to take the results of that and make Laurie throw a draw to the 4 foot. She needs probably half the 4 foot.
Laurie took a moment to clean a little bit of the draw path that she's going to throw. Be a bad time to run into Schmutz now.
Yeah, yeah, it would that.
Laurie St. George. Final stone of the 9th. Needs to draw the 4 for the win. And this is not heavy. Jamie Sinclair kept running right on out to help. Both brushers on it. Got to get there. Got to get all the way to the 4 foot. All the way to the 4 foot. Can you drag it there, ladies? Can you drag it there? Can you get there? Yes, you do, and you have the win. Laurie St. George with an excellent draw. And they will win the Swiss Chalet Curling Stadium Spiel by a final score of 6-5.
Yeah, you can see here it was a good move by Jamie to go out and help on that one, and Emily never ever left it. So tremendous sweeping job and a really nice throw by Laurie St. George. It's, sometimes you only have that one sweeper. You're sometimes thinking I got to give her a little extra, and she didn't need that. So well done, well deserved win.
Yeah, it definitely looks like that Jamie was committed to running out right off the jump on that.
Yeah.
As long as the line was fine, Laurie could call that line for herself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And ultimately, man, great effort by Chelsea Brandwood there in the 8th.
Oh, really tremendous effort. She'll be seeing that split in her dreams tonight, I'm sure, because it was so close to making that.
Man, and I think I'll be seeing that split in my dreams. It was such an exciting shot to watch.
Yeah.
But it'll be happy dreams of cashing a check for the St. George rink. And congratulations to them. And thank you to all of you guys watching here on Curling Stadium. So for Jim Nix, Connor Sims, Jerry Gertz, I'm Dave Schmel. Thank you for joining us. This is Curling Stadium and the Stadium Sports Network. Have a great day.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
'Tis the season to enjoy Swiss Chalet's festive special. Canada's favorite rotisserie chicken, cranberry sauce, stuffing, Lindor chocolates, and a scratch and win card where everyone's a winner. Your favorite tradition, the festive special. Only $17.99, only at Swiss Chalet.